The Aztec Empire, a name that echoes with the clash of swords and the roar of warriors, was built not just on ambition but on the battlefield. Their military prowess wasn't just about strength, it was strategy, innovation, and a relentless drive to dominate. Picture this, an empire forged in blood and fire, rising from humble beginnings to become a powerhouse of ancient Mesoamerica. But it wasn't just one battle that shaped their destiny, it was 50 pivotal moments where the tide of history turned, where alliances were made and broken, where the fate of entire civilizations hung in the balance. From the founding of their capital to the final, desperate stand against invaders, these battles defined the Aztec Empire. Over the next minutes, we'll take you on an epic journey through these clashes, uncovering the tactics, the triumphs, and the tragedies that shaped one of the most fascinating empires in history. Stay with us because by the end of this video, you'll see why the Aztecs remain a symbol of military brilliance and why their story continues to captivate us today. Turning our focus to the very beginning of the Aztec saga, we arrive at the legendary battle that paved the way for the founding of Tenochtitlan. This wasn't just a fight for territory, it was a struggle for survival and divine destiny. According to Aztec mythology, their people were guided by the god Huitzilopochtli, who promised them a new home marked by an eagle perched on a cactus devouring a serpent. After years of wandering, they found this sacred sign on a small, marshy island in Lake Texcoco. But the land wasn't empty. The local tribes, particularly the Tepanecs, viewed the Aztecs as unwelcome intruders. What followed was a fierce battle where the Aztecs, despite being outnumbered, showcased their growing military ingenuity. By leveraging their knowledge of the lake's terrain and employing clever tactics, they secured a decisive victory. This triumph wasn't just a military success, it was the foundation of their empire. Tenochtitlan, the city they built on that island, would become the heart of the Aztec world, a hub of trade, politics, and culture. Strategically, its location provided natural defenses and control over vital water routes, giving the Aztecs a significant advantage in future conflicts. Mythologically, it fulfilled their divine prophecy, cementing their identity as a people chosen by the gods. The founding of Tenochtitlan wasn't just a battle, it was the birth of an empire. And as we'll see, it set the stage for the many conflicts that would define their rise to power. With the foundation of Tenochtitlan firmly established, the Aztecs soon faced their next great challenge, the Tepanec War. This conflict, which erupted in the early 15th century, was a defining moment in their ascent to dominance in the Valley of Mexico. The Tepanecs, a powerful and expansionist empire based in Azcapotzalco, had long viewed the Aztecs as vassals, demanding tributes and exerting control over their growing city-state. But the relationship between the two powers was far from stable. When the Tepanec ruler Tezozomoc passed away, a power struggle ensued, creating an opportunity for the Aztecs to assert their independence. Led by their visionary leader Itzcoatl, the Aztecs formed a strategic alliance with the neighboring city-states of Texcoco and Tlacopan, creating what would later be known as the Triple Alliance. Together, they launched a coordinated campaign against the Tepanecs, marking the beginning of a fierce and prolonged conflict. The Aztecs' military prowess, combined with their ability to forge alliances and exploit internal divisions within the Tepanec Empire, proved decisive. Key battles such as the Siege of Azcapotzalco showcased their tactical ingenuity and relentless determination. By the end of the war, the once mighty Tepanec Empire had been dismantled, and the Aztecs emerged as the dominant power in the region. This victory not only expanded their territory but also solidified their reputation as a formidable force, setting the stage for their future conquests. The Tepanec War was more than just a military campaign. It was a turning point that reshaped the political landscape of the Valley of Mexico and paved the way for the Aztec Empire's rise to prominence. As we'll see, this was just the beginning of their ambitious journey to build one of the most powerful empires in Mesoamerica. With the Tepanecs War behind them, the Aztec Triple Alliance wasted no time in turning their attention to expansion. These early conquests marked the beginning of a relentless campaign to extend their influence across the Valley of Mexico and beyond. The alliance, comprising Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, and Tlaxcala, was a formidable force, blending the strengths of each city-state into a unified military machine. Their first targets were neighboring city-states that had either resisted their authority or posed a potential threat to their growing dominance. One of the initial campaigns focused on the city of Coyoacán, a strategic location that controlled key trade routes and resources in the region. The Aztecs employed a combination of military might and diplomatic pressure, offering neighboring cities a choice between submission or destruction. Those who resisted faced swift and overwhelming force, as the Aztecs demonstrated their ability to adapt their tactics to different terrains and challenges. Another early conquest was the city of Xochimilco, known for its fertile lands and crucial agricultural output. Here, the Aztecs utilized siege warfare, cutting off supplies and isolating the city until its leaders capitulated. These victories not only expanded their territory but also secured vital resources, ensuring the stability and growth of the burgeoning empire. The Aztec success in these early campaigns was rooted in their ability to coordinate effectively as an alliance, leveraging the unique strengths of each member. Tenochtitlan provided the strategic vision and military leadership. Texcoco contributed its intellectual and cultural sophistication, and Tlaxcala offered its logistical support and manpower. Together, they formed a cohesive unit that could outmaneuver and outlast their rivals. As they continued to conquer neighboring city-states, the Aztecs implemented a system of tribute, demanding goods and labor from their newly subjugated territories. This not only enriched their own city-states but also reinforced their control over the region. By the end of these early campaigns, the Triple Alliance had established itself as the dominant power in the Valley of Mexico, setting the stage for even greater conquests to come. The lessons learned during these battles would shape their future strategies, proving that their rise to power was no accident but the result of careful planning, adaptability, and relentless ambition. Turning our attention to the next chapter in the Aztec conquests, we arrive at the Siege of Chalco, a pivotal moment that showcased the empire's growing mastery of warfare. Situated in a fertile region southeast of the Valley of Mexico, Chalco was a wealthy city-state that controlled key agricultural resources and trade routes. Its strategic importance made it a prime target for the Aztecs, who sought to secure dominance over the entire valley. What followed was a meticulously planned siege that would become a testament to the Triple Alliance's innovative tactics and relentless determination. The Aztecs began by isolating Chalco, cutting off its access to neighboring allies and vital supplies. This strategy of attrition was designed to weaken the city's defenses and morale over time. At the same time, the Aztecs employed psychological warfare, spreading fear and uncertainty among Chalco's population. They used their reputation for ruthless efficiency to intimidate, making it clear that resistance would lead to devastating consequences. When the time came for the final assault, the Aztecs unleashed their full military might. Utilizing advanced siege engines and coordinated attacks, they breached Chalco's defenses with precision and speed. Their ability to adapt to the city's terrain and fortifications demonstrated their growing sophistication in warfare. The fall of Chalco was not just a military victory but a strategic triumph. By controlling this key region, the Aztecs gained access to abundant resources, including maize, beans, and other agricultural goods essential for sustaining their expanding empire. The city's subjugation also sent a clear message to other city-states in the valley, reinforcing the Aztecs' dominance and deterring potential resistance. The Siege of Chalco marked a turning point in the Aztecs' expansion, proving their ability to combine innovation, strategy, and brute force to achieve their goals. It was a stark reminder that their rise to power was built on both ambition and ingenuity, setting the stage for even greater conquests to come. Moving forward in our exploration of Aztec conquests, we now turn our attention to the fertile lands of the Toluca Valley, a region rich in resources and strategic importance. This area, located west of the Valley of Mexico, became a key target for the Aztecs as they sought to expand their influence and secure vital agricultural and trade routes. Their campaigns here would further solidify their reputation as master strategists and relentless conquerors. The Aztecs approached the Toluca Valley with a combination of military precision and calculated diplomacy. They first sought to weaken the region's independent city-states by exploiting existing rivalries and forming temporary alliances. This divide-and-conquer strategy allowed them to isolate their targets, making it easier to launch targeted attacks without facing a united front. When the time came for direct confrontation, the Aztecs employed a mix of traditional warfare and psychological tactics. Their warriors, trained in both close combat and ranged attacks, overwhelmed their enemies with coordinated assaults. At the same time, they used their reputation for brutality to instill fear, often causing opposing forces to surrender before a battle even began. One of the most notable aspects of these campaigns was the Aztecs' ability to adapt to the unique geography of the Toluca Valley. The region's varied terrain, including mountains, lakes, and dense forests, required innovative approaches to mobility and logistics. The Aztecs utilized their knowledge of the land to outmaneuver their enemies, setting up ambushes and securing key vantage points. They also leveraged their extensive network of roads to ensure a steady flow of supplies, enabling them to sustain prolonged campaigns far from their capital. Economically, the conquest of the Toluca Valley was a significant victory. The region's fertile soil produced abundant crops, including maize, beans, and chili peppers, which were essential for feeding the growing Aztec population. Additionally, the valley's strategic location along major trade routes allowed the Aztecs to control the flow of goods, further enriching their empire. These resources not only strengthened the Aztecs' economic power, but also provided the means to fund future military campaigns. The campaigns in the Toluca Valley also had a broader impact on the Aztec Empire's political landscape. By bringing this region under their control, the Aztecs demonstrated their ability to manage and integrate diverse territories, setting a precedent for future expansions. They appointed local leaders loyal to the empire, ensuring stability while allowing the valley's inhabitants to maintain some autonomy. This balanced approach helped to minimize resistance and fostered a sense of unity within the empire. As we reflect on these campaigns, it becomes clear that the Aztec success in the Toluca Valley was not just a product of military might but also of strategic foresight and adaptability. Their ability to combine force with diplomacy and to harness the region's resources for their benefit marked yet another step in their rise to becoming one of the most dominant powers in ancient Mesoamerica. With the Toluca Valley under their control, the Aztecs were poised to embark on even greater conquests, further shaping the course of history in the region. Turning our attention to a darker chapter in Aztec history, we arrive at the Battle of Tecoaque, a haunting event that sheds light on the empire's fierce resistance against Spanish encroachment. In the year 1520, a Spanish-led caravan, accompanied by indigenous allies and African slaves, was traveling through the region of Tecoaque, unaware of the Aztecs' growing resolve to confront these foreign invaders. This encounter would not only mark a significant moment in the Spanish conquest, but also reveal the Aztecs' unyielding determination to defend their land and sovereignty. The Aztecs, led by local leaders loyal to the empire, ambushed the caravan with precision and ferocity. Unlike previous battles, the outcome at Tecoaque was not just a military victory but a symbolic act of defiance. The captives, including Spaniards, their allies, and even their horses, were subjected to ritualistic sacrifices over the course of several months. This brutal reprisal was a direct response to the atrocities committed by the Spanish and their allies, as well as a message to other potential invaders. The Aztecs aimed to demonstrate their power and willingness to fight to the death against those who threatened their way of life. The historical implications of the Battle of Tecoaque are profound. It highlighted the Aztecs' ability to adapt their strategies in the face of a new and formidable enemy. While their traditional tactics had served them well in conflicts with neighboring city-states, the arrival of the Spanish required innovative approaches. The ambush at Tecoaque showcased their capacity for surprise attacks and their use of psychological warfare to instill fear in their adversaries. Furthermore, this battle underscored the complex alliances and divisions that shaped the Spanish conquest. The Aztecs targeted not only the Spanish but also their indigenous allies, many of whom had joined the invaders in hopes of overthrowing Aztec dominance. This dynamic reveals the intricate political landscape of the time, where loyalties were often fluid and alliances were forged out of necessity rather than shared goals. The legacy of Tecoaque serves as a stark reminder of the violence and upheaval that characterized the Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire. It also challenges the narrative of Spanish invincibility, showing that the Aztecs were capable of striking back with devastating force. This event, though tragic, remains a testament to the resilience and determination of the Aztec people in the face of overwhelming odds. As we move forward, the Battle of Tecoaque sets the stage for the escalating conflicts between the Aztecs and the Spanish, marking a turning point in the struggle for control of Mesoamerica. With this pivotal battle behind us, we now turn to the Aztecs' expansion into Oaxaca, where their encounters with the Mixtec and Zapotec peoples would further shape the future of the empire. Shifting our focus to the fertile lands of Oaxaca, we witness the Aztec Empire's ambitious drive to expand its influence beyond the Valley of Mexico. This region, rich in resources and home to the Mixtec and Zapotec civilizations, became a strategic target for the Aztecs as they sought to consolidate their dominance in Mesoamerica. The campaigns into Oaxaca were not merely military conquests but also opportunities for cultural and economic exchange, shaping the empire's legacy in profound ways. The Aztecs launched their incursions into Oaxaca with a combination of military might and political maneuvering. Their armies, trained in the art of warfare and backed by the resources of the Triple Alliance, moved with precision into the region. The Mixtec, known for their intricate goldwork and codices, and the Zapotec, renowned for their architectural achievements at Monte Albon, posed unique challenges to the Aztec forces. These were not passive peoples. They had their own histories of resistance and resilience, which made the Aztec campaigns far from straightforward. Despite fierce opposition, the Aztecs managed to establish control over key areas in Oaxaca. Their strategy often involved forming alliances with local leaders or exploiting existing rivalries between the Mixtec and Zapotec city-states. This approach allowed them to extend their influence without engaging in prolonged, costly conflicts. However, their presence in the region also led to significant cultural exchanges. The Aztecs brought their own traditions, religious practices, and administrative systems, while adopting elements of Mixtec and Zapotec culture in return. One notable outcome of these encounters was the blending of artistic styles. Aztec artisans began incorporating Mixtec and Zapotec motifs into their work, creating a fusion that enriched the visual culture of the empire. Similarly, the Mixtec and Zapotec peoples adopted aspects of Aztec governance and military organization, adapting them to their own needs. These exchanges were not always harmonious, but they reflect the complex interplay of conquest and coexistence that defined this period. The Aztec incursions into Oaxaca also had lasting economic implications. The region's abundant resources, particularly its cacao and precious metals, became vital to the empire's wealth. Control over trade routes through Oaxaca allowed the Aztecs to strengthen their position as a dominant power in Mesoamerica. However, this expansion also exposed the limits of their empire. The distance from Tenochtitlan and the diverse, often resistant populations of Oaxaca made it challenging to maintain long-term control. As we reflect on these campaigns, it becomes clear that the Aztec expansion into Oaxaca was more than a series of battles. It was a transformative process that shaped the cultural, political, and economic landscape of the region. The encounters with the Mixtec and Zapotec peoples highlight the complexity of Mesoamerican history, where conflict and cooperation often went hand in hand. Moving forward, we'll explore how these dynamics played out in the Aztec efforts to consolidate power in the Valley of Mexico. Turning our attention to the Valley of Mexico, we encounter a pivotal moment in the Aztec Empire's quest for dominance, the Siege of Coyoacan. This ancient city, strategically located in the heart of the valley, was a key player in the region's political and economic landscape. For the Aztecs, capturing Coyoacan was not just about territorial expansion. It was a critical step in solidifying their control over the valley and establishing themselves as the unrivaled power in Mesoamerica. The Aztecs approached the siege with careful planning and determination. Their forces, well-trained and battle-hardened from previous campaigns, surrounded the city, cutting off supply lines and isolating its inhabitants. Coyoacan, with its strong fortifications and experienced defenders, was no easy target. The city's leaders had long resisted Aztec influence, and its people were prepared to fight fiercely to protect their independence. Despite this resistance, the Aztecs employed a combination of military strategy and psychological warfare to weaken Coyoacan's resolve. They used their superior numbers and tactical ingenuity to press the attack, while also leveraging alliances with neighboring city-states to further isolate the city. Over time, the relentless pressure began to take its toll. Food and water supplies dwindled, and the defenders, exhausted and outnumbered, found it increasingly difficult to hold out. When Coyoacan finally fell, it marked a turning point in the Aztec expansion. The capture of the city not only eliminated a major rival, but also sent a clear message to other powers in the Valley of Mexico. Resistance to the Aztecs would be met with overwhelming force. With Coyoacan under their control, the Aztecs gained access to crucial resources and trade routes, further strengthening their economic and military position. The significance of this victory extended beyond the battlefield. Coyoacan's integration into the Aztec Empire brought new opportunities for cultural exchange and administrative organization. The city's artisans, merchants, and leaders were incorporated into the empire's broader network, contributing to its growth and stability. At the same time, the Aztecs introduced their own systems of governance and taxation, ensuring that Coyoacan became a loyal and productive part of their domain. As we consider the Siege of Coyoacan, it becomes clear that this event was a cornerstone in the Aztec Empire's rise to power. It demonstrated their ability to overcome formidable opponents and adapt their strategies to achieve their goals. The conquest of Coyoacan not only secured their dominance in the Valley of Mexico, but also laid the groundwork for future campaigns that would shape the course of Mesoamerican history. Next, we'll explore how the Aztecs navigated the challenges of their ongoing expansion, particularly in their conflicts with the Tarascan Empire. As the Aztecs solidified their dominance in the Valley of Mexico, their ambitions led them westward into the territory of the Tarascan Empire, setting the stage for one of the most intense rivalries in Mesoamerican history. The Tarascan Wars, a series of fierce conflicts between these two powerful empires, were marked by innovative military strategies and high-stakes territorial disputes. This clash of titans not only tested the limits of both civilizations, but also reshaped the political and cultural landscape of the region. The Tarascan Empire, centered in modern-day Michoacan, was a formidable opponent. Known for their advanced metallurgy and well-organized armies, the Tarascans had built a strong and resilient state that was determined to protect its borders. Unlike many other Mesoamerican powers, they had developed bronze weapons and armor, giving them a technological edge over the Aztecs, who primarily relied on obsidian and wood. This advantage made the Tarascans a unique and challenging adversary. The first major encounter between the Aztecs and Tarascans occurred in the late 15th century as Aztec forces pushed into Tarascan-held territories. The Aztecs, accustomed to overwhelming their opponents with sheer numbers and disciplined tactics, found themselves facing a highly organized and well-equipped enemy. The Tarascans, for their part, used their superior weaponry and knowledge of the terrain to repel the invaders, inflicting significant losses on the Aztec army. Despite these setbacks, the Aztecs continued to adapt their strategies. They began to study the Tarascan military techniques, learning from their defeats and refining their own approach. Over time, they developed new tactics such as using larger shields to counter Tarascan bronze weapons and employing guerrilla-style attacks to disrupt supply lines. The Aztecs also sought to weaken the Tarascans by forming alliances with neighboring tribes and inciting internal dissent within the empire. The wars between these two powers were not just about territorial control, they were also a battle of innovation and resilience. Each side pushed the boundaries of military technology and strategy, creating a dynamic and evolving conflict. The Tarascans, for example, were among the first in Mesoamerica to utilize cavalry units, using horses captured from the Spanish in later years. The Aztecs, in turn, focused on logistical efficiency, ensuring their armies were well supplied and capable of sustained campaigns. As the wars dragged on, both empires faced significant challenges. The Aztecs struggled to maintain their expansive empire while dealing with constant threats on multiple fronts. The Tarascans, though successful in defending their core territories, were increasingly strained by the relentless Aztec pressure. These conflicts ultimately drained resources and manpower from both sides, leaving them vulnerable to external threats in the years to come. The legacy of the Tarascan Wars is a testament to the ingenuity and determination of both the Aztec and Tarascan civilizations. These battles not only highlighted their military prowess, but also demonstrated the complex interplay of innovation, strategy, and resilience in ancient warfare. As we move forward, we'll explore how these conflicts influenced the broader dynamics of Mesoamerican history and set the stage for future challenges. Turning our attention to the Puebla Valley, we find the Aztecs engaged in a pivotal struggle that would shape their economic future. The Battle of Atlixco, fought in the heart of this fertile region, was not merely a clash of armies but a calculated move to secure vital trade routes. Situated along the crossroads of major trade networks, Atlixco held immense strategic value for the Aztec Empire. Control over this area meant access to valuable resources, including cotton, cacao, and obsidian, which were essential for both daily life and military expansion. The Aztecs, ever the meticulous strategists, recognized the importance of Atlixco early on. By establishing dominance in the Puebla Valley, they could strengthen their economic foundation and ensure the uninterrupted flow of goods to Tenochtitlan. The battle itself was a testament to their planning and adaptability. Facing a coalition of local tribes determined to protect their autonomy, the Aztecs employed a combination of direct assaults and psychological warfare to break their opponents' resolve. Their warriors, armed with obsidian-edged weapons and clad in quilted cotton armor, advanced with precision, overwhelming the defenders through sheer discipline and coordination. What set this battle apart was its long-term impact on the Aztec economy. By securing Atlixco, the Aztecs effectively controlled the trade routes connecting the Gulf Coast to the highlands. This allowed them to monopolize the exchange of luxury items and raw materials, enriching their empire and fueling further expansion. The Puebla Valley became a hub of economic activity, with markets bustling as goods flowed freely between regions. The Aztecs also implemented a system of tribute, demanding goods and services from the conquered communities, which further bolstered their wealth and influence. However, the battle's significance extended beyond economics. By demonstrating their military prowess and strategic foresight, the Aztecs solidified their reputation as a dominant force in Mesoamerica. The victory at Atlixco sent a clear message to neighboring powers: resistance was futile and cooperation yielded benefits. This dual approach of force and diplomacy became a hallmark of Aztec expansion, ensuring their empire's stability and prosperity for decades to come. As we reflect on the Battle of Atlixco, it becomes clear that this conflict was more than a military engagement. It was a turning point in the Aztec Empire's rise to dominance. By securing the Puebla Valley, the Aztecs not only strengthened their economy but also laid the groundwork for their continued expansion and influence in the ancient world. This strategic victory reminds us of the intricate connections between warfare, economics, and empire building in Mesoamerican history. As we venture further south, the Aztec Empire's ambitions led them into the lush, resource-rich lands of Xoconochco. This region, nestled along the Pacific coast, was a coveted prize for its abundant resources, including cacao, rubber, and precious feathers. The conquest of Xoconochco marked a critical chapter in the Aztec expansion, as it brought them into direct conflict with the powerful Maya civilization. The campaign began with the Aztecs leveraging their military expertise and strategic alliances. Recognizing the complexity of the terrain and the strength of the Maya defenses, they employed a combination of force and diplomacy to weaken their opponents. The Aztec warriors, equipped with their signature obsidian-edged weapons and armored in quilted cotton, faced fierce resistance from the Maya, who were equally skilled in guerrilla tactics and defensive strategies. The battles were grueling, often fought in dense jungles and steep mountainous regions that tested the endurance and adaptability of both sides. What emerged from these struggles was not just a military victory but a profound cultural exchange. The Aztecs, known for their ability to integrate conquered peoples into their empire, began to absorb elements of Maya culture, particularly in art, architecture, and religious practices. This blending of traditions enriched the Aztec Empire, creating a vibrant tapestry of Mesoamerican heritage. The conquest of Xoconochco also had significant economic implications. By securing this region, the Aztecs gained control over crucial trade networks that connected the highlands of central Mexico to the distant markets of Central America. Cacao, in particular, became a cornerstone of Aztec commerce, used not only as a luxury item but also as a form of currency. The establishment of these trade routes allowed the Aztecs to diversify their economy and strengthen their influence across Mesoamerica. Yet the campaign was not without its challenges. The Maya, though ultimately subdued, proved to be formidable adversaries, forcing the Aztecs to adapt their strategies and rethink their approach to warfare in unfamiliar territories. This experience would later shape their military tactics in other southern campaigns as they continued to expand their empire. As we reflect on the conquest of Xoconochco, it's clear that this campaign was more than a military endeavor. It was a testament to the Aztecs' ability to navigate complex political landscapes, integrate diverse cultures, and establish themselves as a dominant force in Mesoamerica. Their success in this region not only secured vital resources, but also laid the foundation for their continued expansion and influence in the ancient world. With this southern campaign behind them, the Aztecs turned their attention to new horizons, setting the stage for further conquests and the continued growth of their empire. The lessons learned in Xoconochco would prove invaluable as they faced new challenges and opportunities in their relentless pursuit of dominance. Moving forward, the Aztec Empire set its sights on the fertile lands of Oaxaca, a region renowned for its rich resources and strategic importance. The Battle of Tecoaque would become a defining moment in their campaign, showcasing their ability to blend diplomacy with military might in their quest for dominance. The Aztecs approached Tecoaque with a dual strategy of negotiation and force. Recognizing the strength of the local Zapotec and Mixtec forces, They sought to weaken their opponents by fostering divisions and securing alliances with rival factions. This diplomatic maneuvering allowed the Aztecs to isolate Huaxiacac, making it easier to launch a coordinated military assault. When the battle finally erupted, the Aztec warriors demonstrated their formidable combat skills. Armed with obsidian-edged macuahutls and protected by quilted cotton armor, they faced the well-organized defenses of the Zapotec and Mixtec armies. The fighting was intense, with both sides employing innovative tactics to gain the upper hand. The Aztecs, however, leveraged their superior numbers and strategic coordination to overwhelm their adversaries, securing a decisive victory. The conquest of Huaxiacac marked more than just a military triumph. The Aztecs quickly moved to integrate the region into their empire, bringing their administrative and cultural systems to the newly conquered territories. They established tribute systems, ensuring a steady flow of resources back to Tenochtitlan, while also encouraging the exchange of goods, ideas, and traditions. This integration fostered a sense of unity, blending Aztec practices with the rich heritage of the Zapotec and Mixtec peoples. Beyond its immediate impact, the Battle of Huaxiacac had broader implications for the Aztec Empire. It solidified their control over Oaxaca, a region vital for its agricultural output and strategic location. The campaign also reinforced the Aztecs' reputation as master strategists, capable of combining diplomacy and warfare to achieve their goals. As the dust settled, the Aztecs turned their attention to consolidating their gains in Oaxaca, ensuring the stability and prosperity of their newly acquired territories. The lessons learned at Huaxiacac would continue to shape their approach to conquest, paving the way for further expansion and the enduring legacy of their empire. With their hold on Oaxaca firmly established, the Aztec Empire now turned its gaze toward the Gulf Coast, a region teeming with valuable resources and strategic opportunities. This marked the beginning of the Gulf Coast campaigns, a series of military and diplomatic efforts aimed at extending Aztec influence over this crucial area. The Gulf Coast was home to the Tepanecs people, a thriving civilization known for their agricultural prowess and control of key trade routes. For the Aztecs, this region was not just a target for conquest, but a gateway to securing access to essential resources like cotton, cacao, and precious metals. However, the Tepanecs were no easy adversaries. Their well-fortified cities and skilled warriors posed a significant challenge to Aztec ambitions. The first major engagement of the campaign saw the Aztecs employing a mix of intimidation and negotiation. They leveraged their growing reputation as a dominant force to persuade some Tepanecs city-states to align with them willingly. This strategy of divide and conquer allowed the Aztecs to weaken Tepanecs unity, making it easier to focus their military efforts on those who resisted. When diplomacy failed, the Aztecs turned to their well-honed military tactics. They launched coordinated attacks on Tepanecs strongholds, using their superior numbers and disciplined formations to overwhelm their opponents. The battles were fierce, with the Tepanecs warriors putting up a valiant defense. However, the Aztecs' relentless assault and strategic use of terrain eventually led to their victory, bringing several Tepanecs cities under their control. The second phase of the campaign focused on consolidating their gains and integrating the Gulf Coast into the Aztec Empire. The Aztecs established tribute systems, ensuring a steady supply of resources flowed back to Tenochtitlan. They also encouraged cultural exchange, blending Aztec traditions with the rich heritage of the Tepanecs people. This integration not only strengthened Aztec control, but also fostered a sense of shared identity among the diverse populations of the empire. The Gulf Coast campaigns were a turning point for the Aztecs, solidifying their dominance over a region critical to their economic and strategic interests. These battles showcased their ability to adapt their tactics to different terrains and peoples, further cementing their reputation as master strategists. As the Aztecs looked to the future, the lessons learned from their Gulf Coast endeavors would shape their approach to expansion. preparing them for the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead in their relentless quest for power and influence. Turning their attention eastward, the Aztecs set their sights on Tepanecs, a critical city in the Puebla Valley known for its strategic location and economic importance. This marked a pivotal moment in their campaign to secure their eastern territories, as control of Tepanecs would not only strengthen their hold on the region, but also open up vital trade routes and resources. The Aztecs understood that Tepanecs' fall would be a significant step in consolidating their influence over the eastern lands. The Siege of Tlaxcala began with a calculated approach. The Aztecs, renowned for their tactical ingenuity, surrounded the city, cutting off supplies and isolating its inhabitants. They employed psychological warfare, using their reputation as formidable conquerors to demoralize the defenders. Meanwhile, their engineers worked tirelessly to construct siege works, preparing for a prolonged blockade if necessary. The people of Tepanecs, however, were determined to resist, fortifying their defenses and rallying their warriors for the impending battle. When the Aztecs launched their assault, the fighting was intense. The defenders fought valiantly, using the city's natural defenses to their advantage. Yet, the Aztecs' superior numbers, disciplined formations, and relentless strategy gradually wore down Tepanecs' resistance. After weeks of fierce combat, the city finally fell to the Aztec forces, marking a decisive victory in their eastern campaign. The capture of Tepanecs had far-reaching implications. It not only secured Aztec control over a key region, but also sent a powerful message to neighboring city-states about the empire's growing dominance. The Aztecs quickly integrated Tepanecs into their tribute system, ensuring a steady flow of resources to support their expanding empire. Politically, the fall of Tepanecs reshaped alliances in the region, as many local leaders sought to align themselves with the Aztecs to avoid a similar fate. This victory also demonstrated the Aztecs' ability to adapt their strategies to different terrains and challenges. The siege highlighted their mastery of both military and psychological tactics, further solidifying their reputation as one of the most formidable powers in Mesoamerica. As they continued their march toward greater expansion, the lessons learned at Tepanecs would inform their approach to future conquests, reinforcing their relentless pursuit of power and influence. With Tepanecs firmly under their control, the Aztecs now set their sights on new horizons, ready to face the next chapter in their ambitious campaign to reshape the ancient world. Shifting their focus northward, the Aztecs encountered a formidable challenge in the Chichimec tribes, a group of nomadic peoples known for their fierce independence and guerrilla warfare tactics. The Chichimec Wars marked a significant chapter in Aztec history, as these conflicts tested the empire's border defense strategies and their ability to integrate conquered peoples into their vast domain. Unlike the settled city-states the Aztecs had previously subdued, the Chichimec tribes presented a unique and unpredictable adversary, forcing the empire to adapt its tactics to the rugged and unfamiliar terrain of the northern frontier. The Aztecs initially approached the Chichimec Wars with their usual military precision, establishing fortified outposts and deploying well-trained armies to secure the borders. However, the Chichimecs' hit-and-run tactics and intimate knowledge of the land made them a persistent threat. The Aztecs quickly realized that traditional siege warfare and large-scale battles were ineffective against an enemy that refused to engage in conventional combat. Instead, they began to employ counter-guerrilla strategies, using smaller, more mobile units to track and disrupt Chichimec raids. Cultural assimilation also played a key role in the Aztecs' efforts to pacify the northern frontier. Recognizing the Chichimec's deep connection to their land and way of life, the Aztecs implemented policies aimed at integrating the tribes into their empire through diplomacy and incentives. They offered trade opportunities, access to Aztec markets, and even positions of authority to those who pledged loyalty to the empire. While some Chichimec groups resisted fiercely, others gradually accepted Aztec influence, leading to a blending of traditions and a slow but steady expansion of the empire's cultural reach. The Tepanecs Wars highlighted the Aztecs' adaptability in the face of new challenges. These conflicts forced the empire to rethink its military strategies, emphasizing flexibility and innovation over sheer force. At the same time, the Aztecs' efforts to assimilate the Tepanecs demonstrated their understanding that cultural integration could be as powerful a tool as military conquest. As the Aztecs continued to strengthen their hold on the northern frontier, the lessons learned from the Tepanecs Wars would prove invaluable. These conflicts not only secured the empire's borders but also paved the way for future campaigns into uncharted territories. With their strategies refined and their resolve unshaken, the Aztecs prepared to face the next phase of their relentless expansion. As the Aztecs turned their attention westward, they found themselves facing one of their most formidable rivals yet, the Tarascan Empire. The Battle of Tecoaque, fought near the heart of the Tarascan capital, was a clash of titans that would test the limits of Aztec military strategy and ambition. This confrontation was not just about territorial control, it was a battle for dominance over the western frontiers of Mesoamerica, where two powerful empires sought to assert their supremacy. The Tarascans, known for their advanced metallurgy and well-organized military, presented a unique challenge to the Aztecs. Unlike many of their previous opponents, the Tarascans had developed sophisticated fortifications and used bronze weapons, giving them a technological edge. The Aztecs, accustomed to victories through sheer numbers and psychological warfare, were forced to reconsider their approach. The rugged terrain surrounding Tecoaque further complicated matters as the Tarascans used their knowledge of the land to their advantage, setting traps and ambushes that disrupted Aztec advances. In this pivotal battle, the Aztecs employed a combination of brute force and strategic ingenuity. They attempted to outflank the Tarascan defenses by launching simultaneous attacks from multiple directions, hoping to overwhelm their enemies with coordinated strikes. However, the Tarascans' disciplined formations and superior weaponry proved to be a formidable counter. The Aztecs faced heavy casualties as their forces struggled to breach the Tarascan lines, and the battle quickly turned into a grueling stalemate. The outcome of the Battle of Tecoaque had far-reaching implications for both empires. While the Aztecs failed to achieve a decisive victory, they managed to secure a tentative foothold in the region, forcing the Tarascans to acknowledge their presence. This uneasy balance of power would shape the dynamics of future conflicts, as both sides continued to vie for control over the western territories. The battle also highlighted the limitations of Aztec military tactics when faced with a well-organized and technologically advanced adversary, prompting the empire to reassess its strategies for future campaigns. As the dust settled over Tecoaque, the Aztecs emerged with a newfound respect for their Tarascan rivals. The lessons learned from this clash would influence their approach to warfare in the years to come, as they sought to adapt and innovate in the face of new challenges. This battle, though inconclusive, marked a turning point in the Aztec expansion, signaling the beginning of a long and complex rivalry that would shape the destiny of both empires. As the Aztecs shifted their focus southward, their campaigns in the Mixtec kingdoms marked a significant chapter in their expansion. The Mixtec people, renowned for their intricate artistry and rich cultural heritage, were not easily subdued. These battles were as much about cultural exchange as they were about military conquest, as the Aztecs sought to integrate Mixtec traditions into their growing empire. The Aztecs approached the Mixtec territories with a blend of force and diplomacy. Recognizing the strategic importance of the region, they forged alliances with certain Mixtec city-states, leveraging these partnerships to weaken their enemies. This tactic allowed them to divide and conquer, isolating stronger Mixtec factions and gradually extending their influence. The alliances also provided the Aztecs with valuable insights into Mixtec society, enabling them to adapt their strategies to the unique challenges of the region. The Mixtec kingdoms, though fragmented, offered fierce resistance. Their warriors were skilled in guerrilla tactics, using the mountainous terrain to their advantage. The Aztecs, accustomed to open battlefield engagements, faced difficulties in navigating the rugged landscape. Despite these challenges, they persisted, employing a combination of siege warfare and psychological intimidation to break Mixtec defenses. The fall of key Mixtec cities served as a turning point, as the Aztecs solidified their control over the region. What followed was a remarkable period of cultural integration. The Aztecs, known for their ability to absorb and adapt elements of conquered societies, incorporated Mixtec art, religion, and administrative practices into their empire. This blending of cultures enriched the Aztec civilization, leaving a lasting legacy that would influence Mesoamerican history for generations. The conquest of the Mixtec kingdoms not only expanded the Aztec empire's borders but also deepened its cultural complexity. These campaigns demonstrated the empire's ability to navigate both the battlefield and the intricacies of diplomacy, shaping its identity as a dominant force in ancient Mesoamerica. As we turn to the next chapter of Aztec history, we'll explore their prolonged conflict with the Tlaxcalans, a struggle that would test the limits of their power and resilience. Moving into a new phase of Aztec expansion, the Siege of Tlaxcala stands out as one of the most defining and grueling conflicts in their history. The Tlaxcalans, a resilient and fiercely independent people, became one of the Aztec Empire's most formidable adversaries. Situated just east of the Valley of Mexico, Tlaxcala's strategic location made it a crucial target for the Aztecs, who sought to control the region to secure trade routes and strengthen their dominance. However, what began as a campaign for territorial expansion quickly turned into a decades-long struggle that would test the limits of Aztec military might. The Tlaxcalans, though surrounded by Aztec-controlled territories, managed to maintain their independence through a combination of strategic alliances and a deeply entrenched warrior culture. Their fighters were renowned for their discipline and adaptability, often using the rugged terrain of their homeland to their advantage. The Aztecs, accustomed to swift victories through overwhelming force, found themselves locked in a war of attrition. Repeated attempts to conquer Tlaxcala through direct assaults and sieges were met with fierce resistance, as the Tlaxcalans employed guerrilla tactics and fortified their cities to withstand prolonged attacks. This prolonged conflict had significant implications for Aztec military strategy. The difficulties faced in Tlaxcala forced the empire to adapt its tactics, shifting from reliance on sheer numbers to more nuanced approaches, including psychological warfare and economic blockades. The Aztecs also began to refine their siege techniques, learning to cut off supply lines and isolate their enemies more effectively. Despite these innovations, victory remained elusive, and the siege dragged on, draining resources and manpower. The Siege of Tlaxcala also had broader political and cultural ramifications. The Tlaxcalans' resistance became a symbol of defiance against Aztec dominance, inspiring other regions to resist imperial control. This prolonged struggle weakened the Aztecs' position, leaving them vulnerable to future challenges, particularly during the Spanish conquest. Interestingly, the Tlaxcalans would later ally with the Spanish, playing a pivotal role in the fall of the Aztec Empire. As the Aztecs grappled with the challenges of the Tlaxcalan conflict, their military campaigns began to shift focus once again. Next, we'll explore their efforts to control the Valley of Puebla, where new battles and alliances would further shape the trajectory of their empire. As the Aztecs continued their expansion, the fertile and strategically vital Valley of Puebla became a key battleground in their quest for regional dominance. Nestled between the highlands and the Gulf Coast, the valley offered access to rich agricultural lands and critical trade routes, making it a prized target for the empire. However, the Aztecs soon discovered that the region's diverse communities were equally determined to defend their autonomy, leading to a series of intense and often unpredictable campaigns. The Aztecs employed a combination of military force and strategic diplomacy in their efforts to subdue the Puebla Valley. Recognizing the region's complex network of city-states and alliances, they sought to divide and conquer by offering favorable terms to cooperative leaders while ruthlessly crushing resistance from others. This approach allowed them to gain a foothold in the valley, but it also fueled resentment among those who viewed the Aztecs as aggressors. Despite their initial successes, the Aztecs faced significant challenges in maintaining control. The valley's terrain, marked by rugged mountains and narrow passes, favored defenders who used guerrilla tactics to harass Aztec supply lines and outmaneuver their forces. Local leaders, skilled in both warfare and diplomacy, formed coalitions to resist the invaders, forcing the Aztecs to adapt their strategies. Over time, they began to focus on securing key strongholds and establishing garrisons to project their power across the region. These campaigns in the Puebla Valley also highlighted the limitations of the Aztec military system. While their warriors were formidable in open battle, they struggled to sustain prolonged campaigns in hostile territory. The strain on resources and manpower became increasingly evident as the empire sought to balance its ambitions with the realities of governing distant lands. Nevertheless, the Aztecs' persistence in the valley demonstrated their determination to expand their influence, even as it tested the limits of their empire. As the Aztecs pressed forward in their campaigns, their experiences in the Puebla Valley would prove crucial in shaping their approach to future conquests. Next, we'll turn our attention to the Battle of Otumba, a pivotal moment in the Spanish conquest that would leave an indelible mark on Aztec history. Turning our focus to one of the most dramatic moments in Aztec history, we arrive at the Battle of Otumba. This clash, fought in the year 1520, marked a critical turning point in the Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire. After suffering heavy losses and being forced to retreat from Tenochtitlan during the Noche Triste, or Night of Sorrows, the Spanish forces, led by Hernán Cortés, found themselves vulnerable and pursued by Aztec warriors. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test both the resilience of the invaders and the determination of the Aztec resistance. The battlefield at Otumba, located on the plains northeast of the Valley of Mexico, provided little cover, forcing the Spanish to rely on their superior weaponry and cavalry tactics. Despite being outnumbered and exhausted, Cortés and his men managed to regroup and prepare for the onslaught. The Aztecs, emboldened by their recent victories and driven by a fierce desire to expel the invaders, launched a relentless attack. Their warriors, armed with obsidian-edged macuahuitl and protected by cotton armor, closed in on the Spanish with a ferocity that underscored their commitment to defending their homeland. What made the Battle of Otumba particularly significant was the strategic brilliance displayed by Cortés under extreme pressure. Recognizing the importance of disrupting the Aztec command structure, he ordered a targeted assault on their leaders. This bold move, executed by the Spanish cavalry, threw the Aztec forces into disarray, allowing Cortés and his men to break through their lines and escape. While the battle was not a complete Spanish victory, it demonstrated their ability to adapt and survive in the face of overwhelming odds. For the Aztecs, the Battle of Otumba highlighted both their strengths and their vulnerabilities. Their warriors fought with unparalleled courage, but the failure to decisively defeat the Spanish exposed the limitations of their military strategies against European tactics and technology. The battle also served as a reminder of the challenges they faced in uniting their diverse allies against a common enemy. Despite their efforts, the Aztecs could not prevent the Spanish from regrouping and eventually returning to Tenochtitlan for the final siege. The legacy of the Battle of Otumba lies in its role as a microcosm of the larger conflict between the Aztec Empire and the Spanish conquistadors. It was a moment that encapsulated the resilience of both sides, the clash of cultures, and the high stakes of their struggle. As we move forward in our exploration of Aztec battles, the lessons learned at Otumba will continue to echo through the events that shaped the fate of this ancient empire. As we shift our focus to the broader conflict, the Spanish-Aztec Wars emerge as a defining chapter in the history of the Americas. These initial clashes, beginning in the early 16th century, marked the collision of two vastly different worlds. The Spanish, armed with advanced weaponry and armored cavalry, sought to conquer and convert, while the Aztecs fought fiercely to protect their empire and way of life. These early encounters set the stage for a prolonged struggle that would reshape the region. The first significant engagement occurred when Hernán Cortés and his forces landed on the Gulf Coast in 1519. The Spanish were initially welcomed by local populations, many of whom resented Aztec dominance. Indigenous allies such as the Totonac and later the Tlaxcalans played a crucial role in supporting the Spanish. Their knowledge of the terrain, local politics, and military strategies proved invaluable, enabling Cortés to navigate the complex landscape of Mesoamerican power dynamics. One of the earliest battles took place at Sempoala, where the Spanish and their indigenous allies clashed with Aztec forces. This encounter demonstrated the effectiveness of Spanish steel, firearms, and cavalry against the Aztecs' traditional weapons. Despite their numerical superiority, the Aztecs struggled to counter the mobility and firepower of the Spanish, leading to a series of setbacks. However, the Aztecs' resilience and adaptability were evident as they began to devise new tactics to counter the invaders. The role of diplomacy and alliances cannot be overstated during this period. Cortés skillfully exploited divisions among indigenous groups, forging alliances that bolstered his forces and weakened the Aztec Empire. Meanwhile, the Aztec Emperor Moctezuma sought to negotiate with the Spanish, hoping to avoid open conflict. These efforts, however, only delayed the inevitable escalation of hostilities. As tensions mounted, both sides prepared for the battles that would determine the fate of the region. The Spanish-Aztec Wars also highlighted the cultural and technological disparities between the two sides. While the Spanish relied on disciplined formations and advanced weaponry, the Aztecs employed guerrilla tactics, ambushes, and psychological warfare to counter their adversaries. These clashes were not just military confrontations, but also a test of strategy, adaptability, and endurance. The outcomes of these early battles would set the tone for the larger conflict, leaving both sides with valuable lessons and a grim understanding of the stakes involved. As we move forward, the Spanish-Aztec Wars serve as a reminder of the complexities of empire building and resistance. The role of indigenous allies, the clash of military tactics, and the interplay of diplomacy and warfare all contributed to shaping the course of history. These initial encounters were just the beginning of a struggle that would ultimately decide the fate of the Aztec Empire and its people. With the stage set for the climax of this epic struggle, we now turn to the fall of Tenochtitlan, a pivotal moment that marked the end of the Aztec Empire. This final siege, which lasted from May to August of 1521, was a brutal and devastating confrontation that reshaped the course of history. The Spanish, bolstered by thousands of indigenous allies, laid siege to the Aztec capital, cutting off supplies, dismantling defenses, and gradually tightening their grip on the city. Tenochtitlan, once a thriving metropolis built on an island in the middle of Lake Texcoco, became a battleground of unimaginable scale. The Aztecs, led by their new emperor Cuauhtémoc, mounted a fierce resistance, using every available resource to repel the invaders. They fought house by house, street by street, determined to protect their city and their way of life, yet the odds were overwhelmingly against them. Disease, starvation, and the relentless assault from Spanish forces and their allies took a heavy toll on the defenders. The Spanish, under the command of Hernán Cortés, employed a combination of military strategy and psychological warfare. They constructed brigantines, small warships equipped with cannons, to dominate the lake and bombard the city. Meanwhile, their indigenous allies, many of whom harbored long-standing grievances against the Aztecs, played a critical role in the siege. Their knowledge of the city's layout and their sheer numbers overwhelmed the Aztec defenses. As the siege dragged on, the once magnificent city of Tenochtitlan was reduced to ruins. Canals were filled in, temples were destroyed, and the streets ran red with blood. The Aztecs, despite their bravery and ingenuity, could not withstand the relentless assault. In August of 1521, Tepanecs was captured and the city finally fell. The Aztec Empire, which had dominated Mesoamerica for centuries, was brought to its knees. The fall of Tenochtitlan had profound and far-reaching consequences. It signaled the end of Aztec sovereignty and marked the beginning of Spanish colonial rule in the region. The city was razed to the ground, and in its place Mexico City was built, symbolizing the new order. For the Aztec people, the loss of their capital was a cultural and spiritual catastrophe, as their temples, traditions, and way of life were systematically dismantled. Yet, the legacy of the Aztec Empire endures. The fall of Tenochtitlan was not just a military defeat but a turning point in the history of the Americas. It serves as a poignant reminder of the resilience of the Aztec people and the complex interplay of conquest, resistance, and transformation that shaped the New World. As we reflect on this monumental event, we gain a deeper understanding of the forces that continue to influence the region to this day. Turning our attention to an earlier chapter in this unfolding drama, we arrive at the Battle of Sempoala. This encounter, which took place in 1519, played a pivotal role in Hernán Cortés' campaign against the Aztec Empire. Sempoala, a key city in the region and a center of Totonac culture, became the stage for a critical moment of shifting alliances and strategic maneuvering. When Cortés and his forces landed on the Gulf Coast, they quickly recognized the importance of securing local allies to bolster their campaign. The Totonac people of Sempoala, who had long been subjugated by the Aztecs and forced to pay heavy tributes, saw an opportunity to break free from Aztec dominance. Cortés, leveraging their discontent, formed an alliance with the Totonacs, marking the first major collaboration between the Spanish and indigenous groups in the region. The Battle of Sempoala itself was less a direct confrontation and more a demonstration of Spanish military might. Cortés, with his superior weaponry and tactics, displayed a show of force that intimidated both the Totonacs and their Aztec overlords. This display not only solidified the alliance with the Totonacs, but also sent a clear message to other local groups about the power of the Spanish forces. The encounter at Sempoala became a turning point, as it encouraged other indigenous communities to reconsider their allegiance to the Aztec Empire. This shift in alliances had profound implications for the broader campaign. The Totonacs provided the Spanish with crucial support, including warriors, supplies, and intelligence about the Aztec Empire. This alliance also highlighted the deep-seated resentment many indigenous groups felt toward the Aztecs, a factor Cortés skillfully exploited to weaken the empire from within. The Battle of Sempoala underscores the complex dynamics of conquest in the Americas. It was not merely a clash of armies, but a strategic game of diplomacy and alliance building. Cortés' ability to forge partnerships with local groups proved to be as critical as his military prowess, setting the stage for the larger conflicts that would follow. As we examine this encounter, we gain insight into the multifaceted nature of the Spanish conquest and the pivotal role of indigenous allies in reshaping the balance of power in Mesoamerica. With the alliance at Sempoala firmly established, the Spanish forces, led by Hernán Cortés, pressed further inland toward the heart of the Aztec Empire. Their next major stop was Cholula, a city revered as a sacred center of worship and a key ally of the Aztecs. However, what unfolded there would go down in history as one of the most controversial and brutal events of the conquest. The Cholula Massacre, as it came to be known, marked a turning point in the relationship between the Aztecs and the Spanish, setting the stage for even greater upheaval. As Cortés and his troops entered Colula in 1519, they were initially welcomed with apparent hospitality. The city, known for its grand pyramids and religious significance, seemed to be a potential ally. However, tensions simmered beneath the surface. Cortés, ever wary of betrayal, began to suspect that the Colulans were conspiring with the Aztecs to ambush his forces. Whether these suspicions were based on genuine evidence or strategic paranoia remains a topic of debate among historians. What followed was a swift and devastating act of retribution. On Cortés' orders, the Spanish forces, aided by their Tlaxcalan allies, launched a surprise attack on the city. Thousands of unarmed Colulans were slaughtered in a single day, and much of the city was left in ruins. The massacre sent shockwaves throughout the region, serving as a grim warning to other cities that might consider opposing the Spanish advance. The impact of the Colula massacre was immediate and far-reaching. For the Aztecs, it was a stark reminder of the ruthlessness of their new adversaries. The event also deepened the divide between the Spanish and the Aztecs, making future negotiations or alliances nearly impossible. For Cortés, however, it was a strategic victory. The massacre demonstrated his willingness to use extreme force to achieve his goals, effectively intimidating other indigenous groups into submission or alliance. In the aftermath, the Spanish continued their march toward Tenochtitlan, now with an even larger coalition of indigenous allies. The Tlaxcalans, emboldened by their role in the massacre, became steadfast partners in the campaign. Meanwhile, the Aztecs, led by Emperor Moctezuma II, grew increasingly wary of the Spanish threat. The seeds of distrust sown at Colula would soon bear fruit in the larger conflicts to come. The Colula massacre also highlighted the complex interplay of diplomacy and violence that defined the Spanish conquest. While Cortés was skilled at forging alliances, he was equally adept at using brutality to eliminate potential threats. This dual strategy would prove crucial as the Spanish moved closer to their ultimate goal, the heart of the Aztec Empire. As we turn our attention to the battles that followed, we'll see how the events at Colula reshaped the course of history in Mesoamerica. Moving forward from the turmoil of Colula, the Spanish forces and their allies pressed on toward the Acolhua city-states, a region that would become a critical battleground in the conquest of the Aztec Empire. The Battle of Acolhuacan marked a pivotal moment in the struggle for control of Mesoamerica, showcasing the resilience of the Aztecs and the strategic ingenuity of their adversaries. As Cortés and his troops advanced into Acolhuacan, they encountered fierce resistance from the local forces. The Acolhua, a powerful group aligned with the Aztecs, were determined to defend their territory against the Spanish incursion. Unlike previous encounters, the Acolhua warriors were well prepared, utilizing their knowledge of the terrain to mount a formidable defense. This was not just a battle for land, but for the survival of their way of life, and the Acolhua fought with unmatched ferocity. The Spanish, however, were equally determined. Employing a mix of superior weaponry and tactical brilliance, Cortés and his men adapted quickly to the challenges posed by the Acolhua resistance. Firearms and steel weapons gave the Spanish a significant advantage, but it was their ability to leverage alliances with indigenous groups that truly turned the tide. The Tlaxcalans, now fully committed to the Spanish cause, played a crucial role in the battle, providing both manpower and local knowledge that proved invaluable. The turning point came when the Spanish forces managed to breach the defenses of Acolhuacan's strongest cities. Despite their bravery, the Acolhua were overwhelmed by the combined might of the Spanish and their allies. The fall of these city-states was a devastating blow to the Aztec Empire, as it not only weakened their territorial control but also shattered the morale of their regional allies. The Spanish now had a clear path toward the heart of the empire with fewer obstacles in their way. The aftermath of the Battle of Acolhuacan was a grim reminder of the shifting dynamics of the conquest. The Acolhua, once a proud and independent people, found themselves subjugated under Spanish rule. For the Aztecs, the loss of their Acolhua allies was a significant setback, further isolating them as the Spanish closed in on Tenochtitlan. The battle also underscored the effectiveness of Cortés' strategy of divide and conquer, as he continued to exploit existing rivalries to weaken the Aztec alliance system. As we look back on this pivotal conflict, it becomes clear how the Battle of Acolhuacan shaped the trajectory of the Spanish conquest. It was not just a military victory but a strategic one, setting the stage for the final chapters of the Aztec Empire's struggle against the invaders. The bravery and determination of the Acolhua warriors, though ultimately unsuccessful, remain a testament to the fierce resistance that defined this era of history. Shifting our focus westward, we now turn to the Aztec efforts to conquer the Tarascan Empire, a formidable and independent power that resisted Aztec dominance for decades. The Tarascans, known for their advanced metallurgy and military prowess, presented a unique challenge to the Aztec expansion. Unlike many other Mesoamerican groups, the Tarascans had managed to maintain their independence, creating a rivalry that would shape the region's history. The Aztecs launched multiple campaigns against the Tarascan Empire, seeking to bring it under their control. However, these efforts were met with fierce resistance. The Tarascans, skilled in both strategy and combat, utilized their knowledge of the rugged terrain to their advantage. Their armies were well organized, employing weapons made from copper and bronze, which gave them an edge in battle. The Aztecs, accustomed to quicker victories, found themselves in a prolonged struggle against a highly resilient adversary. One of the most significant challenges the Aztecs faced was the Tarascans' effective use of defensive fortifications. Their capital, Tzintzuntzan, was heavily fortified, making it nearly impregnable to Aztec assaults. Despite repeated attempts, the Aztecs were unable to breach these defenses, a rare setback in their otherwise successful campaign of expansion. This stalemate forced the Aztecs to reconsider their strategies, leading to a series of skirmishes rather than full-scale battles. Interestingly, the conflicts between the Aztecs and the Tarascans also led to cultural exchanges. The Tarascans' expertise in metallurgy, particularly their ability to craft tools and weapons from copper and bronze, influenced the Aztecs, who began to incorporate these techniques into their own practices. Additionally, the prolonged contact between the two empires resulted in the exchange of goods, ideas, and even artistic styles, highlighting the complex nature of their relationship. While the Aztecs were never able to fully conquer the Tarascan Empire, their efforts to do so had lasting implications. The constant threat of Aztec invasion pushed the Tarascans to strengthen their military and fortify their cities, ensuring their survival as an independent power. For the Aztecs, the struggle against the Tarascans underscored the limits of their expansionist ambitions and the importance of adapting to new challenges. As we reflect on these battles, it becomes clear that the Aztec-Tarascan conflicts were more than just military engagements. They were a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of both empires, shaping the cultural and political landscape of Mesoamerica. The legacy of these encounters would continue to influence the region long after the Aztec Empire's fall, reminding us of the complex interplay between conquest, resistance, and cultural exchange. Turning our attention to the southern reaches of the Aztec Empire, the Battle of Xochimilco stands as a pivotal moment in the Spanish conquest. This battle took place in the heart of a region known for its intricate network of canals and floating gardens, which played a crucial role in sustaining the empire. Xochimilco was not only a vital agricultural center but also a strategic military stronghold, making it a key target for the Spanish forces led by Hernán Cortés. The Aztecs, aware of Xochimilco's importance, fortified the city and prepared to defend it against the advancing Spanish army. They utilized the natural landscape to their advantage, turning the canals into obstacles that slowed the Spanish advance. The Aztec warriors, skilled in both land and water-based combat, launched fierce attacks from their canoes, creating chaos among the Spanish ranks. This defense showcased the Aztecs' ingenuity and adaptability, even as they faced the superior firepower of the Spanish. Despite their efforts, the Spanish eventually gained the upper hand, thanks in part to the support of indigenous allies who had grown disillusioned with Aztec rule. These local forces played a significant role in the battle, providing the Spanish with crucial intelligence and reinforcements. The fall of Xochimilco marked a turning point in the conquest, as it opened the way for the Spanish to advance further into the Aztec heartland. The battle also highlighted the complex dynamics of the Spanish conquest, where alliances and betrayals reshaped the course of history. The resistance at Xochimilco, though ultimately unsuccessful, demonstrated the determination of the Aztec people to defend their homeland. It also revealed the fragility of the Aztec Empire, as internal divisions weakened their ability to withstand the Spanish onslaught. As we consider the Battle of Xochimilco, it becomes evident that this conflict was more than just a military encounter. It was a clash of cultures, strategies, and wills that would leave a lasting impact on the region. The legacy of this battle serves as a reminder of the resilience of the Aztec people and the complexities of their struggle against the forces of conquest. Looking ahead, the fall of Xochimilco set the stage for the next chapter in the Spanish conquest, bringing us closer to the dramatic conclusion of the Aztec Empire's resistance. Shifting our focus to the Valley of Toluca, the Aztec campaigns in this region reveal a fascinating chapter in their expansion. Nestled to the west of the Valley of Mexico, Toluca was a fertile and strategically important area, rich in resources and surrounded by rugged terrain. The Aztecs recognized its value and sought to bring it under their control, but this endeavor was far from straightforward. The campaigns in Toluca showcased the Aztecs' ability to adapt their strategies to challenging environments. The valley's mountainous landscape required innovative approaches to warfare, as traditional tactics used in flatter regions were less effective here. The Aztecs employed guerrilla-style warfare, using the terrain to their advantage by ambushing enemy forces and cutting off supply lines. They also established fortified positions on high ground, making it difficult for opposing armies to dislodge them. However, the resistance they faced in Toluca was formidable. The local populations, including the Matlatzinca and Otomi peoples, were fiercely independent and well-versed in the region's geography. They used their knowledge of the land to mount a determined defense, often retreating into the mountains to regroup and launch counterattacks. This prolonged the conflict and tested the Aztecs' resolve, forcing them to adapt their strategies repeatedly. One of the key battles in this campaign took place near the settlement of Tlaxcala, where the Aztecs faced a coalition of local forces. The battle was intense, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The Aztecs eventually emerged victorious, but the victory came at a high cost. It demonstrated the challenges of conquering a region where the local population was deeply entrenched and willing to fight fiercely for their independence. The campaigns in Toluca also highlighted the Aztecs' diplomatic skills. Recognizing the difficulty of relying solely on military force, they sought to forge alliances with certain local leaders, offering them protection and trade opportunities in exchange for loyalty. This approach helped them gradually extend their influence in the region, though it also required them to navigate complex political dynamics. As the Aztecs secured their hold over Toluca, they gained access to vital resources, including agricultural products and obsidian, which were crucial for sustaining their empire. However, the campaigns also revealed the limits of their military power, as the resistance they encountered underscored the challenges of ruling a diverse and often rebellious population. The campaigns in the Valley of Toluca serve as a reminder of the complexities of Aztec expansion. They were not just conquerors but also strategists and diplomats, constantly adapting their methods to overcome the challenges they faced. This chapter in their history highlights both their ingenuity and the enduring spirit of resistance they encountered in their quest to build an empire. With the Toluca Valley now under their control, the Aztecs turned their attention to new frontiers, continuing their relentless drive to expand their influence across Mesoamerica. Turning our attention to the southern reaches of the Aztec Empire, we arrive at the Battle of Tecoaque, a pivotal moment in their efforts to control key trade routes and strengthen their political influence. Located in what is now modern-day Cuernavaca, Tecoaque was a strategically vital region, known for its fertile lands and its position along important trade corridors connecting the highlands with the coastal areas. The Aztecs understood that controlling this area would not only secure valuable resources, but also enhance their ability to dominate regional commerce. The campaign to conquer Tecoaque was marked by both military ingenuity and complex political maneuvering. The local Tecoaque people, who had long inhabited the region, were skilled warriors with a deep understanding of the terrain. They used this to their advantage, mounting a determined defense against the Aztec forces. The Aztecs, however, were relentless in their pursuit of victory. They adapted their tactics to the region's hilly and forested landscape, employing mobile units to outmaneuver their opponents and launching surprise attacks to disrupt their defenses. One of the most significant aspects of this campaign was the Aztecs' ability to integrate military success with diplomatic strategy. Recognizing the importance of gaining local support, they sought to form alliances with certain Tecoaque leaders, offering them protection and trade benefits in exchange for their cooperation. This approach allowed the Aztecs to weaken the resistance from within, gradually extending their control over the region. The Battle of Tecoaque itself was a decisive confrontation, showcasing the Aztecs' tactical prowess. The fight was fierce, with both sides demonstrating remarkable courage, but the Aztecs' superior organization and strategic planning ultimately led to their victory. This triumph not only secured their dominance over the region, but also opened up critical trade routes that connected the heart of the empire with distant coastal markets. With Tecoaque under their control, the Aztecs gained access to essential resources, including cotton, cacao, and other luxury goods that were highly prized in their economy. This victory also strengthened their political position, as it demonstrated their ability to conquer and integrate diverse regions into their empire. However, it also highlighted the ongoing challenges of maintaining control over territories with strong local identities and a history of independence. The Battle of Tecoaque serves as a testament to the Aztecs' multifaceted approach to empire building. It was not just a military victory, but also a diplomatic and economic triumph that underscored their adaptability and ambition. This chapter in their history reveals the complexities of their expansion and the intricate balance of power, resistance, and cooperation that defined their empire. As the Aztecs consolidated their hold over Tecoaque, they set their sights on further expanding their influence, driven by their unyielding desire to secure their dominance across Mesoamerica. Moving forward in our journey through Aztec military history, we now turn to the pivotal conflicts with the Tlaxcalan Confederacy, a series of battles that would reshape the destiny of Mesoamerica. The Tlaxcalans, a fiercely independent people located to the east of the Aztec Empire, were among the most formidable adversaries the Aztecs ever faced. Their resistance was not just a military challenge, but also a test of the Aztecs' ability to expand their empire in the face of determined opposition. The Aztecs had long sought to conquer Tlaxcala, driven by both strategic and economic motives. The region was a key gateway to the Gulf Coast and a vital source of tribute, including food, textiles, and warriors for their armies. However, the Tlaxcalans were unlike many of the other peoples the Aztecs had subjugated. They were organized into a confederation of 4 city-states, each contributing to a united front against external threats. This unity gave them a resilience that made them a formidable opponent. The battles between the Aztecs and the Tlaxcalans were marked by intense fighting and tactical innovation. The Aztecs employed their traditional strategies of siege warfare and psychological intimidation, but the Tlaxcalans countered with their own strengths. They were masters of guerrilla tactics, using their knowledge of the rugged terrain to ambush Aztec forces and disrupt their supply lines. These skirmishes often resulted in heavy casualties on both sides, with neither power able to achieve a decisive victory. One of the most significant challenges the Aztecs faced was the Tlaxcalans' ability to sustain prolonged resistance. Unlike other regions that had quickly fallen under Aztec control, Tlaxcala remained defiant for decades. This persistence was fueled by a deep sense of independence and a determination to protect their way of life. The Aztecs, for all their military might, found themselves in a stalemate, unable to fully subdue their opponents. The turning point in this conflict came with the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors led by Hernán Cortés. The Tlaxcalans, recognizing the threat posed by the Spanish, initially clashed with them but soon realized that the Spanish could be powerful allies in their fight against the Aztecs. This led to a historic and fateful alliance. The Tlaxcalans provided the Spanish with crucial support, including warriors, supplies, and strategic guidance, which proved instrumental in the eventual downfall of the Aztec Empire. The alliance between the Tlaxcalans and the Spanish marked a dramatic shift in the balance of power in Mesoamerica. It was a moment that underscored the complexities of politics and warfare in the region. The Tlaxcalans, once staunch defenders of their independence, became key players in the conquest of the Aztec Empire, a decision that would have far-reaching consequences for their own people and for the history of the Americas. These battles with the Tlaxcalan Confederacy reveal the resilience of both the Aztecs and their opponents. They highlight the limits of military power and the importance of diplomacy and alliances in shaping the course of history. As we continue to explore the Aztec Empire's military campaigns, these conflicts serve as a reminder of the intricate and often unpredictable nature of empire building. Next, we will delve into the events that unfolded as the Aztecs faced their greatest challenge, the Spanish conquest. As the story of the Aztec Empire unfolds, we now arrive at the Siege of Texcoco, a critical chapter in their quest to dominate the Valley of Mexico. Texcoco, one of the region's most influential city-states, was a center of culture, politics, and military power. Its control was essential for the Aztec Empire to solidify its dominance over the surrounding territories. The siege began as part of a broader strategy by the Aztecs to weaken the power of the Acolhua people, who ruled Texcoco. The Acolhua had long been allies of the Aztecs through the Triple Alliance, but tensions had begun to rise over issues of tribute and influence. The Aztecs, seeking to assert their authority, launched a campaign to besiege the city and bring it firmly under their control. What followed was a complex and multifaceted conflict. The Aztecs employed their well-honed tactics of siege warfare, cutting off supplies to the city and using psychological pressure to demoralize its defenders. At the same time, they sought to exploit internal divisions within Texcoco, fostering dissent among the ruling elite to weaken their resistance. The siege dragged on for months, testing the endurance of both sides. The people of Texcoco, however, were not easily subdued. They mounted a determined defense, using their knowledge of the terrain and fortified positions to hold off repeated Aztec assaults. The struggle revealed the resilience of the Acolhua people and their commitment to preserving their independence. Ultimately, the Aztecs managed to break through the defenses of Texcoco, but the victory came at a cost. The siege had strained the resources of both the Aztecs and their allies, and the prolonged conflict had deepened the divisions within the Triple Alliance. While the Aztecs succeeded in bringing Texcoco under their control, the political fallout from the siege would have lasting consequences. The fall of Texcoco marked a turning point in the Aztec Empire's consolidation of power in the Valley of Mexico. It demonstrated their ability to overcome even the most formidable opponents, but it also highlighted the challenges of maintaining unity within their sphere of influence. The siege reshaped the political landscape of the region, forcing the Aztecs to navigate new alliances and rivalries as they continued their expansion. This chapter in Aztec history underscores the intricate balance of military strategy and political maneuvering that defined their empire. The Siege of Tlaxcala was not just a battle for territory, but a struggle for dominance in a complex and ever-changing political environment. As we move forward, we'll explore how these challenges continue to shape the destiny of the Aztec Empire. Shifting our focus to the southern reaches of the Aztec Empire, we now turn to their campaigns in the fertile valley of Morelos. This region, rich in agricultural resources and strategically positioned, became a key target for Aztec expansion. The Valley of Morelos was not only a source of vital supplies, but also a gateway to further conquests in the southern territories, making it a critical piece of the empire's growing dominance. The Aztecs approached their campaigns in Morelos with a combination of military might and strategic diplomacy. Recognizing the region's importance, they sought to subdue local city-states through a mix of direct confrontation and alliances. One of their primary tactics was to exploit existing rivalries among the local leaders, offering support to those willing to pledge allegiance to the empire in exchange for protection and resources. This approach allowed the Aztecs to consolidate their control without engaging in prolonged conflicts. When military force was necessary, the Aztecs relied on their well-organized armies and innovative tactics. They employed swift, targeted strikes to overwhelm their opponents, often using their superior numbers and disciplined formations to their advantage. The rugged terrain of the Valley of Morelos posed challenges, but the Aztecs adapted by using local guides and scouts to navigate the landscape effectively. Their ability to adapt to different environments was a testament to their versatility as warriors and strategists. As the Aztecs expanded their influence in Morelos, they began the process of integrating the conquered territories into their empire. This involved establishing a system of tribute, requiring local leaders to provide goods such as maize, cotton, and other agricultural products. The integration of Morelos into the empire not only bolstered the Aztecs' economic strength, but also reinforced their political control over the region. However, the campaigns in Morelos were not without their challenges. Resistance from local populations, particularly those fiercely protective of their independence, led to sporadic uprisings. The Aztecs responded with a combination of force and diplomacy, quelling rebellions while working to win the loyalty of the people through cultural exchanges and shared governance. The expansion into the Valley of Morelos marked another significant step in the Aztecs' quest for regional dominance. It showcased their ability to blend military strategy with political acumen, ensuring the stability and growth of their empire. As we continue, we'll see how these campaigns set the stage for further conquests and the ongoing challenges of maintaining control over such a vast and diverse territory. Turning our attention to a pivotal moment in the final chapters of the Aztec Empire, we now delve into the Battle of Zapotec. This clash, often overshadowed by the fall of Tenochtitlan, played a crucial role in the Aztecs' resistance against Spanish forces and left a lasting mark on the cultural memory of the region. Zapotec, a fortified town in the shadow of the Aztec capital, became a key stronghold for indigenous resistance as Spanish forces pushed deeper into Aztec territory. The battle was marked by fierce determination as the Aztecs, alongside their allies, fought to defend their homeland. Despite being outmatched in terms of weaponry, they relied on their knowledge of the terrain and guerrilla tactics to mount a formidable defense. This strategy delayed the Spanish advance, buying precious time for other Aztec forces to regroup and prepare for the inevitable confrontations to come. The significance of the Battle of Zapotec extends beyond its military outcome. It symbolized the resilience and tenacity of the Aztec people in the face of overwhelming odds. Even as their empire began to crumble, they demonstrated a fierce refusal to surrender without a fight. This spirit of resistance became a defining characteristic of the Aztec legacy, inspiring future generations to remember their struggle against foreign domination. Culturally, the battle left an indelible impact on the region. The stories of bravery and sacrifice from Zapotec were preserved in oral traditions and later chronicles, becoming a testament to the Aztecs' unwavering spirit. These narratives served as a reminder of the human cost of conquest and the enduring strength of indigenous identity in the face of immense adversity. As we reflect on the Battle of Zapotec, it becomes clear that this confrontation was more than just a military engagement. It was a poignant moment in the Aztecs' final stand, a testament to their courage and a vital chapter in the story of their resistance. Moving forward, we'll explore how this battle, among others, shaped the final days of the Aztec Empire and the legacy it left behind. As we approach the closing chapters of the Aztec Empire, we come to a series of battles that mark the culmination of their struggle against Spanish forces. The fall of the Aztec Empire was not a single event but a culmination of fierce confrontations, political unraveling, and the relentless determination of a people fighting to preserve their way of life. These final battles, though devastating, cemented the Aztecs' place in history as a symbol of resilience and resistance. One of the most significant of these clashes was the Siege of Tenochtitlan itself, a prolonged and brutal conflict that saw the Aztec capital surrounded and starved. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the Aztecs fought with unyielding courage, using their knowledge of the city's canals and causeways to mount a desperate defense. The siege lasted for months, with both sides enduring immense hardship. Eventually, the combination of Spanish weaponry, indigenous allies, and the spread of disease tipped the scales against the Aztecs, leading to the fall of their great city. The aftermath of Tenochtitlan's fall reverberated across Mesoamerica. The once mighty empire which had dominated the region for centuries was now under foreign control. Yet, the Aztecs' resistance did not end with the fall of their capital. In the months and years that followed, pockets of Aztec warriors and their allies continued to fight, staging uprisings and skirmishes in a bid to reclaim their land and freedom. These efforts, though ultimately unsuccessful, showcased the enduring spirit of the Aztec people and their refusal to accept subjugation. The impact of these final battles extended far beyond the battlefield. They marked the end of an era in Mesoamerican history as Spanish colonization reshaped the political, cultural, and social landscape of the region. The Aztec Empire's fall signaled the beginning of a new chapter, one defined by the blending of indigenous and European influences. Yet, the legacy of Aztec resistance remained a powerful force, inspiring future generations to honor their ancestors' struggle and preserve their heritage. As we reflect on the fall of the Aztec Empire, it's important to recognize that their story is not one of defeat alone. It is also a testament to their courage, ingenuity, and unbreakable spirit. The battles that marked their final days were a fitting end to an empire that had risen to greatness through strength and determination. Their legacy continues to resonate, reminding us of the enduring power of resistance and the human will to fight for freedom. Turning now to the final chapter of our journey, we'll explore how the Aztecs' military strategies and cultural achievements have left a lasting mark on history, shaping our understanding of their world and its enduring significance. As we bring our exploration of Aztec battles to a close, it's time to reflect on how their legacy continues to shape our understanding of warfare and history. The Aztecs were not just formidable warriors, they were master strategists whose innovations left a lasting imprint on military tactics and cultural identity. Their use of psychological warfare, such as the terrifying displays of captured enemies, struck fear into their adversaries and demonstrated the power of intimidation. Their ability to adapt to diverse terrains, from dense jungles to highland valleys, showcased their tactical versatility and deep understanding of their environment. Beyond the battlefield, Aztec warfare was deeply intertwined with their culture and spirituality. Rituals like the Flower Wars were not merely about conquest but also about honoring their gods and maintaining cosmic balance. These practices reveal a society where war was both a physical and spiritual endeavor, reflecting the Aztecs' belief in the interconnectedness of life and death. This cultural dimension of their warfare continues to fascinate scholars and offers a window into the rich tapestry of Mesoamerican civilization. The Aztecs' military strategies also influenced the larger political landscape of their time, shaping alliances and rivalries that extended far beyond their borders. Their ability to form the Triple Alliance with Texcoco and Tlaxcala demonstrated their diplomatic acumen, allowing them to dominate the Valley of Mexico and beyond. Even in their decline, their resistance against Spanish forces highlighted their resilience and strategic ingenuity, leaving behind lessons in perseverance and adaptability. In modern times, the study of Aztec warfare has deepened our appreciation for their achievements and challenges. Archaeologists and historians continue to uncover new insights into their tactics, weapons, and organizational structures, shedding light on a civilization that was as complex as it was formidable. Their legacy serves as a reminder of the enduring power of human innovation and the ways in which history is shaped by both triumph and tragedy. The Aztec story is not just a tale of battles won and lost. It is a testament to the enduring spirit of a people who fought to preserve their way of life. Their military strategies, cultural practices, and unyielding resilience continue to inspire and inform, reminding us of the profound impact one civilization can have on the course of history. As we conclude this journey through 50 battles that shaped the Aztec world, let's carry forward the lessons of their legacy, honoring their contributions to our understanding of the past and its relevance to the present. As we draw the final chapter of our exploration, it's worth taking a moment to reflect on the monumental significance of these 50 battles that defined the Aztec Empire. From the legendary founding of Tenochtitlan to the tragic fall of their great capital, each conflict left an indelible mark on the tapestry of Mesoamerican history. Together, they reveal the rise and fall of a civilization that reshaped its world through unparalleled military ingenuity, cultural depth, and unyielding resilience. These battles were not just clashes of armies but pivotal moments that forged alliances, expanded territories, and tested the limits of human endurance. They demonstrate how the Aztecs mastered the art of warfare, blending physical might with spiritual purpose and strategic brilliance. Whether it was the audacious campaigns in the Toluca Valley or the fierce resistance against Spanish invaders, each battle tells a story of ambition, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of power. The legacy of these conflicts extends far beyond their immediate outcomes. They shaped the political, economic, and cultural landscape of the Americas, influencing everything from trade routes to artistic expression. The Aztecs' ability to adapt and innovate in the face of adversity offers timeless lessons in leadership, strategy, and the complexities of human ambition. Their story reminds us that history is not just a record of events but a narrative of people striving to leave their mark on the world. As we close this journey, we invite you to continue exploring the rich history of the Aztec Empire. Dive deeper into their battles, their culture, and their enduring influence on our understanding of ancient civilizations. Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. What aspects of Aztec warfare surprised or inspired you the most? If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future explorations. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through the battles that shaped the ancient world.